Hey everybody, Sean here from Shootie School. I make the most elite EZdrummer videos on the internet. Check out my channel and see for yourself if you agree with my statement. So today we're looking at the Sythnwave EZX, which is a sound expansion for EZdrummer, and we're listening to the original mix preset first as I do this intro. The original mix presets are typically the foundational presets that the other ones derive from. I figured it'd be a good place to start. Now, check out this background. It's pretty beautiful and it's pretty nostalgic. I recognize more than half of the stuff in here. I've actually had my hands on a lot of the stuff that's in here. It's a beautiful, beautiful little throwback, nostalgic background that gets you in the mood for what this EZX does. If you're into simply 80s music, or if you're into EDM, electronic dance music, there's plenty of sounds in here that would work with modern electronic dance music. And I've also noticed as I was checking this out the past 2 hours that there's a lot of sounds in here that I wouldn't mind blending with my acoustic kits with. The kick drum, a lot of these kick drums sound great and bassy, and they would reinforce, kick drums in my acoustic workflow. So I actually have a video on how to blend sounds in only EZdrummer, in your DAW, only using EZdrummer, not Superior Drummer. So check out that video if that's interesting to you. My first impression on this when I was going through it was after doing a little bit of research on synthwave, I only had an idea of what it was. I think this is a more of a traditional nostalgic synthwave product as opposed to a more of a modern throwback to synthwave, because synthwave keeps coming back through the generations. Like when I hear this stuff, I did grow up in the 80s as a child, as a baby and a child. And when I hear some of these sounds, they do make me crack a smile because I recognize them not from musical artists. I kind of hear a little peep here and there that a musical artist that I might be reminded of, but it's mostly from TV commercials, movies, and TV shows. So I'm not using any compressors or limiters on EZdrummer for those of you that need to hear the sounds as raw as possible. I did normalize them a little bit though to about -2 dB, just so people on small devices are not in a good playback atmosphere, don't have to deal with a quieter video than normal, or volume spikes and stuff like that. So that's for you guys that really want to hear exactly what's going on. And another note is this month, by the way, it's February 7th, 2023, the EZX came out today. This month, if you're in the synthwave, this is your month because this comes out today. The EZKeys Synthwave sound expansion comes out next week, and then after that, the EZKeys Synthwave Midi comes out for EZKeys. And then there's plenty of Toontrack products that are 80s themed, like an EBX just came out late last year. The Hitmaker for Superior just came out. There's a bunch of them. So EDM, one-shot blending, 80s, synthwave, those are all keywords where this would be a must-buy. Otherwise, check it out, see for yourself, and see if you dig it. I had fun with this. It was a pretty cool experience. There's only typical to Toontrack EDM products, there's only 2 MIDI files to each preset. So most of their EDM products have a small MIDI file count, and you might buy a Toontrack MIDI pack to boost up that count. Like there is an EDM MIDI pack you might want to check out. Maybe we'll demo it a little bit at the end to see if that works with this. So besides the small MIDI file count, with the EDM stuff or the more electronic stuff, Toontrack just focuses on sounds. Hundreds of sounds go into this. These are all one-shot sounds. They typically have the effects baked in. That's just the nature of the beast, though you do have some alternate effects on the mixer tab, which we'll get into. There's 21 presets, including the original preset we're hearing right now. We'll go through all of them. We'll hear all the MIDI. There are no articulations on any of the instruments. Sometimes you get a little melodic instrument in these electronic EZXs, not in this one. But I think like them pushing the theme and marketing this theme and it being nostalgic, I think that's plenty for this EZX to hold its own. So that's it. Let's get into it. We're going to hear every preset, and we're going to hear the MIDI that was intended to be included with that preset. And if you're really into the details, you can always watch the very upper right hand corner of the screen and know what preset we're on and know that we're hearing the MIDI that is intended to be played with that preset. Let's rock and roll. I like this breakout preset library. It just had a good first impression. Let's talk about the mixer tab and what it does in this EZX while we demo the breakout library preset and MIDI. Now, since we're dealing with an electronic kit, this is all one shots to mix, so you're gonna see a ton of channels going from left to right. And the effects modules down here, it's the same effects modules throughout the entire EZX. Doesn't matter which library preset you have selected. And we'll notice we do have our 3 default EZdrummer 3 percussion instruments. What's cool about that is not only can you turn them up and down, but each of them has an overhead microphone to it to give it a more natural sound. I'll just consider this a room mic. It does say overhead, so you can get a more natural sound out of them. And at the end of the channel mixer, you will have an overall reverb. I'll crank it up too much on purpose just to overemphasize. But what's super cool is this snare only reverb, which is perfect for 80s. You heard it on that snare fill at the end. That's super cool, and I'm glad they did it. So when it comes to the effects, the transient, you know, if we listen to the high end and maybe the high mids, we'll just hear them pop out a bit. That's where it's obvious to me. I can hear other stuff being boosted just a hair, but that's my first impression. Tape saturation was not overly obvious until I put my headphones on. And different presets with different frequencies, producing different frequencies, might make this tape saturation knob, you know, be a little bit more obvious. I would say going from 0 to 100 would not be a dangerous move because it's not a really obvious in your face, you know, gain, warmth sound that it adds. I can definitely hear the low end woofing up a little bit more. Anyway, the high pass filter and low pass filter, it's classic EDM stuff, especially when it comes to like score and move. Or from an EDM point of view, this trick always happens where someone does this and comes back on the downbeat. You know, they do tricks like that, or in movies, like a grenade goes off next to your ear, or someone's on drugs or confused and dizzy, you know, they'll do this stuff. Oh my gosh, I'm drunk at a bar. And now reality's happening, you know. And actually, what's cool about automating this, you can actually automate this right inside EZdrummer 3. My Mixer tab series will be out soon. If you're one of my members or you're interested in becoming one of my members, my members already have a video on how to automate this knob right inside of EZdrummer. And you can do this move right here in standalone mode, or you can do it without using your DAW automation lane. So, and then we got typical compression here, which it'll do what it typically does, but we can really hear the difference in like the tail end of the reverb when you crank this up. Listen to the reverb. Oh yeah. Hear the tail of that reverb really pops out. So anyway, that is the mixer tab. And here's the other beat for breakout, which is, I like the vibe of this one. It's super cool. All right, let's continue on with the library presets. "20 mix-ready kits tailored for synthwave-inspired modern pop music based on 440 individually engineered source sounds." Produced by Grammy Award-nominated Belgian DJ, producer, and composer 𝗪𝗪𝗡𝗪. I apologize if I didn't knock out the pronunciation on that. not sold on buying this yet and you want to hear more what's not included in my video, if you go over to the product page of the Sythnwave EZX and scroll down, you will see the full productions audio where they, mix this into full songs so you can hear potentially how it might work for you. Let's try something real quick. I have the EDM Grooves MIDI pack. It's a completely different product, and I just want to see if the MIDI from this product will just work with Sythnwave 𝗪𝗘𝗣𝗅𝗥. I'm going to be on the original mix, and this is a first impression. This could be way better or way worse than what we hear right now, but let me just click on some files. Yeah, I mean, EDM grooves with synthwave sound, so. Let me try the breakout, because since I like breakout, oh yeah. There you have it. I'm sure you can find, especially if you're into EDM and you like some of these sounds, this might be a good matchup for you, so check it out if you dig it. Some last thoughts are this, is all the included MIDI is grid locked. This is a throwback to the 80s. No one was trying to humanize, hardware sequencers. But with that in mind, a trick you might want to try is, you could load up one of these grooves into the grid editor. You could select all, and you could hit the humanize button and just make sure normal and regular is hit, because this style, I'll hit it now, on normal and regular is activated, because that style of humanize really brings up the backbeat, as we can see here. Here's the beat 4, here's beat 2. It really emphasizes the backbeat. So you could try and play with that. Another thing for inexperienced EZdrummer users that are interested in this is velocity doesn't exist when it comes to electronic EZXs that are based on one-shot samples, but velocity is also really handy, because velocity in this specific case equals volume, flat out. So you can automate volume down here in your velocity lane. Just pretend it says volume here, and I could say, well, I want my kick drum to be really loud, and there's a really loud kick drum volume automation right there. And there's two other places you can access velocity. You can watch my channel for other videos to help you out with velocity, but if we look on the Grooves tab, we can choose overall velocity of the beat here. This beat selected. Now I'm changing the volume of this entire beat here. And if you have a groove in your song track, you can right click and you can send it to edit play style. And here is a velocity knob that will also act as a volume knob, and you can adjust individual instrument volume here, never mind on the mixer tab. Before we go, if you feel like socializing and commenting below, I still can't get enough of this graphic. I'm not going to call out all the things that I recognize. I'll call out my favorite though. My favorite is the larger floppy disk drive. I used to play Oregon Trail on like the first Macintosh that ever came out. My public school got, you know, the first versions of Macintosh, and we played Oregon Trail on it. It was awesome. That was like the video game of the future. This is Sean from Shootie School. If you got something out of this video, please comment below. I do have Toontrack themed social and support groups on Facebook and Discord. I have an exclusive members program for additional exclusive content. The links to all that are in the description. Rock on.